So, up top, I would like to say that I made this video as spoiler light as I could. To that end, all footage shown is from the early game, and I have made sure to cut out any major puzzle solutions from it as well. And while a few rooms and building strategies are briefly mentioned in order to highlight the game's depth, details are kept to the bare minimum. The story also will not really be covered beyond the existence of a certain goal you're given at the beginning of the game. That said, if you prefer to go in 100% blind, consider this your cue to play a little bit of the game first before watching this video. I should also mention that, as of the recording of this video, I haven't fully completed the game. I have put in over 30 hours and made it to room 46 twice, and unlocked a few late game progression items, but that does not constitute total completion, so consider this my impressions of the game after 30 hours of play. With all of that out of the way, let's dive into the video. Blueprints is one of the most intriguing games I've played in recent memory. What you have here is a game that is bound to divide people, because they come in expecting something that the game is not. Let me be super clear about this. Blueprints is not Outer Wilds, and it is not Obra Dinn. It is something wholly unique. It is a puzzle-based roguelite, and that fact affects the game to its very core. Let's go over the basics of how the game works, run to run. So on a raw, moment-to-moment basis, the game is mostly just a walking simulator, where you go from room to room, occasionally interacting with the environment in order to solve puzzles, collect resources, and pick up items. And I do mean walking simulator, not running. You don't move all that fast, even with the run toggle, so you will have to take your sweet time. While investigating these rooms, you will find various notes, documents, and oddities relating to mysteries around the house. This game will not hold your hand, and it expects you to take notes and pay attention to your surroundings in order to solve the mysteries in these rooms. Sometimes the pieces you need to solve a mystery are entirely within the room itself. Other times, pieces are spread throughout multiple rooms and require a buildup of knowledge to even notice there's a puzzle there in the first place. This is because the puzzles are often diegetic and make sense within the environment. So sometimes you won't even know there's a puzzle until you really pay attention. These notes and documents you find in rooms can also help you understand the story of the manor and the people who have inhabited it, as well as the surrounding area. Sometimes these stories are key to solving puzzles, so it's good to take a keen interest in what they have to say. There are also individual puzzle rooms, like the billiards room, which expect you to do math. Lots of math, so much math. I eventually started skipping this room because as time went on, the math only got harder and the rewards didn't get any better. Honestly, this specific room is a major pace breaker because you're expected to do it all the time. And you're just going to have to stop, pull out a calculator, and do math for a couple of minutes just to be able to move on with the game. There are some great aha moments, but there's a certain repetitiveness that settles in once you figure out what all the symbols mean. This is in contrast to the other puzzle room, which doesn't really get much harder and just involves solving a simple riddle. But that's not all. The game has another layer. Progressing through the house works like a roguelite board game, where you can walk across the pieces. The focus is on being able to go deeper into the mansion and fill it out. Deeper sections are tied to a ranking system, and going further in increases that rank, which makes it so rare rooms are more likely to appear. These rare rooms are often the key to solving more mysteries and progressing through the game. Filling it out also helps you get more rooms present in the run, increasing your chances of getting what you want. To accomplish these goals, you have to strategically pick rooms based on the number of connections they have, the bonuses or negatives they give you, and the currency you have available at the time. Oftentimes, you will have to make hard and risky decisions just to avoid getting trapped. To make those decisions interesting, there is a pool of tiles, each with its own specific rarity. These tiles can appear in choices of 3 anytime you open a door. Opening doors and selecting rooms runs on 2 different types of currency, though those can be changed with modifiers, but I will get into that later. These currencies are keys and gems. Keys are used for unlocking certain doors, and the deeper into the house you get, the more likely that a door will be locked. Not every door is locked in the same way. For example, there is an electronic lock that can be both a gift and a curse. It doesn't use the key currency. Instead, they are opened via either a synergy between two different rooms or by using an item called the key card. Both of these methods are permanent solutions to that door for that specific day, and don't rely on a limited currency. Regardless, the key to getting deeper into the mansion is quite literally having enough keys to progress. Then gems are used to select certain rare and useful rooms. These rooms either have a big benefit or a lot of entrances with little to no downsides. Oftentimes, the only way to avoid dead-ending yourself in a run is to have enough gems that when you open the door, you can pick from all available options. This means that it's usually wise to keep at least 2 gems on you, especially when going deeper into the mansion. Approaching a door deep inside without this resource can be very risky. Even early on, it is smart to have access to gems as much as is possible, but it is generally not advisable to use them early on unless you absolutely need to, or if the cost will save you later. There are 2 other types of currency not directly tied to room selection, at least not without special modifiers. The first of these is steps, which measures how far into the mansion you can go before the day ends automatically. There's even a special room called the hovel that lets you spend steps instead of gems in order to select a room. This is one of our aforementioned special modifiers. Some rooms in the game are even built around either limiting how many steps you can take or helping you increase them so you can explore further. The second is gold, which is used to buy things in shops or operate coin-based machines. Much like steps, there are rooms based around getting you more gold or taking it away from you. There are also various tile types in the game, each generally associated with one of the currencies or a type of progression. Green tiles are associated with gems. Brown tiles are associated with keys. Purple is tied to steps. Yellow or shop tiles are associated with gold. Red represents risk and reward, usually low-cost rooms with lots of connections, but a downside. Blue stands in for more general multi-purpose rooms that aren't necessarily tied to any of the above categories, but are nonetheless very useful as they're often tied to story progression. So the strategy becomes about trying to build out the house as efficiently as possible using those tile types, finding synergies like a primarily green house that focuses on gems, a red house if you have a shelter so you can mitigate the risk, a purple focused house if you're using the hovel to mitigate the step cost. These strategies and more help you get deeper into the mansion, increasing your chances of spawning rare rooms and making further progress towards solving the mystery. These roguelite design principles we've been talking about in some ways clash with the design philosophy of mystery games. Because here's the thing. Those games are built around a single, central mystery, with every thread in the game often leading up to its discovery. But when you find Room 46 in Blueprints, that is not the end. That is just the beginning of a far grander mystery. A mystery the game is far less generous about hinting at what even it is. There are plenty of other threads for you to pull, but the game only gives you hints as to where they might be leading. I remember this being intensely frustrating when I first found Room 46, because the actual solution, for me personally, was partially RNG based, and seemed to have little to nothing to do with some of the other mysteries I was trying to solve in the house. I remember thinking, what was the point? Why did I spend all this time carefully taking notes, taking pictures of literally every document, solving all these riddles, when the actual solution was just getting a bunch of random stuff to spawn that led to what I needed, and solving puzzles contained entirely in single rooms? It all felt very anticlimactic. But later I realized that Room 46 isn't actually the central mystery. In any roguelite, beating the quote final boss is never the end. It is just the beginning. My solution to Room 46 was just one of many possible paths. Soon after, I found that the other threads I was chasing led to something else, something greater. All of this is because at its core, Blueprints is a roguelite, whose core gameplay loop, unlike most in the genre, is a puzzle rather than combat. The consequence of this design is that instead of being about a single central mystery, Blueprints gives you tons of mysteries and presents them to you dynamically. What the game presents to you is also decided by RNG. There are ways to manipulate it in your favor, but at the end of the day, nothing truly guarantees that you'll be able to solve any given specific mystery on a particular day. Because sometimes the solution is a key or a part the game straight up refuses to give you. But that leads to some interesting strategies. One of the most important rooms in the game is called Coat Check. It lets you permanently check one item of your choosing to carry between runs. Its appearance is random, but it's fairly common as a room, so you'll have access to it on most runs. But you only get one item, and there are tons of very useful ones, some of which are rare and repeatedly useful. So often you'll be tempted to keep one permanently. So if you're trying to solve a key-based puzzle, you might decide to sacrifice that rare item for that specific key. So next time the room it belongs to appears, you can just use Coat Check to solve the puzzle. There's another type of puzzle that involves connecting two very specific rooms. This can be very hard. I haven't actually successfully done it myself yet, but I find myself days later still thinking of solutions to mitigate the RNG involved in making it happen. From running into that one wrench item again that lets you adjust rarities, to purposely holding back on certain types of rooms so I have enough leeway to relatively guarantee that I get the connection. The point is, while the game can frustrate you by holding you back from solving mysteries you already know the answer to, the core gameplay loop of house building is also interesting in its own right, as you can learn ways to help mitigate the RNG. So the challenge becomes not only knowing the answer, but inputting the answer. To this end, I can definitely see why this game frustrates some people. Because if you don't enjoy this core loop of house building, this game is unlikely to appeal to you. No matter how much you enjoy mystery solving games, it's going to feel like the game is majorly wasting your time if you don't enjoy its core gameplay loop. Loving this game requires that you like both sides of its coin. The mystery solving aspects like Outer Wilds, and the roguelite progression of its house building gameplay. This was a game I very much learned to love. There were many times when I considered simply dropping it out of pure frustration over being unable to solve things I already knew the answer to because of RNG. But when I stepped away from the game, I couldn't help but keep thinking about it. Thinking about the ways I could have mitigated that RNG, that I could do better next time. It has a way of worming its way into your mind and just staying there. As I mentioned earlier, my experience with getting Room 46 was deeply disappointing to me. But despite that, the next day, I felt a compelling pull to dig just a little bit deeper, to find the answers to all the mysteries I already knew were there, but had not solved yet. This is because of that just one more run sensation so familiar to roguelites, where the next run might just be the one where you finally crack the code. So while the game certainly isn't for everyone, it is for me, and I think it will be special to a lot of people. So if any of this sounded appealing to you, I urge you to give it a chance, because there's something special here, something utterly unique. There is nothing quite like the Blueprints. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. As a small YouTube channel that is brand new, it really helps me out a lot. I also read all the comments and love responding to them, so please leave comments with me. If you're new here, I have a video about discovery in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. You should give it a watch. Anyways, I hope you have a great day and take care. Bye!